Hey, what's up? It's your girl, Sir, and we are with another ending recap. This one is a little pardon my lateness for this recap. A lot going on last few days, but nonetheless, that's what we're here for. We're here for another recap. So this is a recap of the Harvey meeting that took place on January the 12th, 2026. I'm going to be referencing the Cal meeting. So that meeting is already, the recap for that meeting is already on the channel. So you can Harvey Cal meeting and see that one. And you can just go there and get the nuggets of information you need to get. And I'm going to say this again, being at the meeting, the meeting was, the room was pretty old. We were all just sitting there waiting for the meeting to begin. And Corrine Davis, who I believe is the village administrator, went and was not talking loudly, I would say very low, to the aldermen and telling them that the mayor would not be in attendance and they needed to elect a mayor pro tem. And that being said, they elected Dominique Randall L. As the pro temp, and they prepared to conduct the meeting, which was more or less a presentation given by the Kasperic CPA firm about the 2022 audit, of which we only heard numbers mentioned maybe 3 times. There were policies asked about as far as debit and credit card because they were flagged in those areas in the 2021 audit. No questions were really answered about whether the policy had been changed or if the policy that had been put in place was being enforced. And still, none of these reports were available to the public for viewing before the meeting or in 20 days prior, as per the statute. They were not listed on the website until the night of the 12th at the meeting for residents to be able to view. No copies in the building. And the deputy clerk was putting the copies on the website as they were talking. Okay, a little recap about the Cal. So we're going to move into the meeting, the regular council meeting. So we're going to skip around a little bit as well. So, but we're going to get into a few points that I want to make. All right.
For those that are unaware, the mayor was able to attend the meeting on today. Therefore, I'm going to ask council to nominate and vote chair for the meeting today.
Motion to elect, rather, as the chair.
We have a motion. Second.
I also want you to take note that it was told that the mayor not be attendance, but the clerk, who normally sits to the right, which is in this area here of the mayoral seat, is also not there, and they were not present at the Cal meeting, and that was not mentioned then. The person sitting in this seat, which is where the computer is and their face is covered, that is a deputy clerk. She's always in attendance at the meetings. The latter meetings, as we got closer to Christmas and those things, he was the one that was in attendance and the clerk was not. But nothing has been stated about the clerk in there. So yeah.
Motion by, yes, the third, second by six. Yeah.
Alderperson Rogers, can you cast your vote on tablet?
If you notice, there's a lot of whispering that is going on across the tables, none of which we could hear from where we sit because we sit further back, so we could not even hear the whisper, but we did see the pointing, the mouth moving, and all of those things.
Motion carried.
Thank you very much.
If you take notice in the top left of this video, you can see the voting board here. If you see greens, that means yes. If you're going to see red, that means somebody voted no.
Let's see. I said every alderman, please show yourself present. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is the invocation and pledge of allegiance.
We're going to skip through this invocation and all of these things because
to amend the agenda. Look for a motion to amend.
Second.
Let me tell you what.
let me go back a little bit because we missed something. The heck of the invocation, we're not going to let Tyrone pray over us. He definitely going to pray over me. I'll sit there and listen to that.
To amend the agenda. Look for a motion to amend.
Second.
Let me tell you what.
If you notice, there's always confusion around the voting because the four alder yes people, they're always trying to make sure that they're heard before the alderwoman of the second ward and the alderman of the fourth ward, so that they're not even able to get in any type of objection or any type of motion to discuss or anything of that nature. They're just so bent on moving things forward as the agenda they have been given by their leader, Sammy Sosa. So they try to overpower the meeting without any type of respect.
Move to amend the current agenda to move items A through.
Let me tell you what items 8 were. Let me see if I can find my paper. First of all, got loads of papers here. Let's see. So Dominique Randall L was trying to amend the agenda to move item 8 to right then. So item 8 would have been it says A, you had 8A and 8B, which 8A was old business, 8B was trying to do all to the beginning voting for the appropriations budget, the appropriations ordinance, the levy, and the levy ordinance, and accepting the fiscal report from Casperics for 2022. So that's what he was trying to do, move all of that up so they would have to vote on that first before anything else was taking place in the agenda.
Yeah, A and B, move items A and B to number 4 on the agenda. I'll take a so moved.
So
Motion. Yes. Second. Motion by the third, second by the sixth.
You see how they try to move so fast. That all the person from the third ward, she's like, so move. And then here come this other man say motion. No, he's supposed to second. They don't even know. They tripping all over each other, just trying to move their agenda forward, that they're not even recognizing what they're doing. If you check the screen right here, now they're waiting for the votes. Top left is the screen where they're voting.
Thank you very much. Motion passes. In previous discussions, if I could just turn attention, there was a question regarding the tax levy, but looking at the agenda, the date is correct on the agenda. So therefore, once it's posted correctly, I don't really see the need to table. Any objection to that?
yes,
I'm listening.
I want to thank Treasurer Pickett, who found that online it's posted as the 2024 tax levy and not 2025 or 2026 tax levy.
Yes. But I'm saying according legally, the agenda is posted correctly, which means we can take action. Legally, the agenda is posted correctly, therefore we can legally take action.
Understood.
That's what I'm saying.
So the discrepancy was online, the posted levy date is incorrect. However, it is correct on the agenda that they put up. And so Dominique Randall L says that they can still vote because while online the date is wrong, on the agenda it is correct. The agenda would be the official document. So he is correct that they can vote on it because it's correct on the agenda, which the agenda would be the official document. So yeah.
Because I knew we talked about this previously and I was with you until I looked at the agenda. I'm like, well, it's right on the agenda. So if we did it right and we posted it correctly, then we can take action.
Got it. May I just reply?
Please.
We want to do everything in full excellence. So we don't have it, we may have it correct here, but we don't have it correct for the general public to review it and it's safe, it's correct here. So I just want us to operate in excellence across the board.
I completely understand where you're at, and you have the right to make whatever motion that you wish when we get there. Me personally, as long as it's been legally posted, I'm prepared to take action on it. Each council member can take their own opinion as they will do so with their votes. With that being said, yes, ma'am.
Just to seek clarification, it is correct on the agenda item. Where is it incorrect?
Online where they posted the tax levy for you.
But
The
information is there, but they said 2024.
Here's the problem. If it's posted incorrectly online, is that the correct levy is presented there for the residents to review. So I understand Alderwoman Kobe's discrepancy and problem with them voting, because is the levy, the correct levy, actually posted online correctly for the residents to be able to view? Is this the correct levy that they are voting on tonight? The residents should be able to access it tonight since they're voting on it tonight. And if it's not, then they shouldn't be voting because the residents cannot view it. It's not the right one. So even if they're saying right now, hey, the date is wrong. Okay, is the document wrong? That's what I would be like. Oh, the document is probably wrong too. That's a concern. Or it should have been a concern of all of the aldermen. But you see, all of the aldermen did not have that concern. These are things that you need to take note of. The details matter. If that date is wrong, is the document right? Who knows if the document is right? Because the residents haven't gotten either. The older people would be the only people that would know if the correct document is online. And at this point, I don't think that Alderwoman Colby is confident that they posted the right document. That is why she is raising the question, as should raise the question as a responsible elected official just trying to do her fiduciary duties.
But I'm here.
Yes,
because
you can see it on there.
correct.
It is legally correct.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Alderman. Last, at the Cal meeting, we allowed for the audit to be presented before we went into the budget, which will allow that again.
Yes,
Complements what we
to
just,
amend the agenda again.
yeah. I'm just following what we just did in our Cal meeting.
Tell you what, as I always said, you have a right to whatever motion. If council supports your motion, then it shall be.
I hope so. We supported it in the Cal meeting, council.
I don't know. Would you provide us with an explanation of why you want to do that?
It's the shade for me. It's the subtle shade for me from Dominique Randall L. You can put whatever motion you want. If the council support it, then it will be done. As if to say, you're not gonna get no support, so go ahead and make a motion. Like, do you want to be correct in what you do, or you just gonna say, oh, because it's listed right on the agenda and it's posted incorrectly on the website, we're gonna continue anyway.
Looking at a preview of a previous budget, or what the audit is for 2022, should allow us oversight on the 25-26 budget. So we're approving the 25-26 budget before we're approving the 2022 audit. I would think sequentially at the 25-26 budget, as we did in the previous calendar.
Okay, again, I'll wait your motion. With that being said, that would not be item 4, right? That's item 4, correct?
No.
So there'll be 4A, old business, there's none. 4B is new business. Item 1, ordinance. An ordinance making appropriation for the corporate purpose of the city of Harvey, fiscal year May 1st, 2025, and ending April 30th, 2026. Is there a motion? So
And I just want to let you know, if you're not in my private community, you should think about joining. In that private community, we are reading the deposition of the Kasperic CPA firm owner, where he admits that he knows that they are supposed to be passing all of these tax levy ordinance appropriation for the last Tuesday in the month of December, yet we are in January and they are just now doing it in the city of Harvey.
is there a second?
There's already a motion by the third.
So that, that's gonna be a second. Ask you to cast your votes.
Alderperson Key, please. Clear your mic.
For two, an ordinance. An ordinance levying taxes in the city of Harvey.
One moment, that ordinance number is 3518.
3518. B2, an ordinance. An ordinance levying taxes in the city of Harvey.
So he said that this was an ordinance that just passed was for taxes, which was one. One actually was the ordinance for appropriations and not taxes. Appropriations meaning money that they are allocating for department uses. So not taxes, money that they will want to allocate to each department for operating in their departments. Appropriating. They are allocating money. That is what they voted on just then. He said it was tax. It was not.
For the fiscal year beginning May 1st, 2025, and ending April 30th, 2026.
Unless he switched the order. Because I believe he said one, and then that was one, which was the appropriations. Two is the tax levy.
So, Mark, the count on the tab, sir.
And so if you notice, again, Kobe and the alderman of the fourth ward voted no, that they did not want to pass any of these levies. I mean, how can you without having an audit for the previous year?
He hasn't called the vote yet.
I did.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Alderman, I don't mean to interject or be rude, but can you call for a discussion?
Again, Alderwoman, you're free to make whatever motion you like. I did not intend to call for discussion on these items because we just spent about a whole hour and a half discussing. So,
First of all, the alderwoman should not have to be calling or asking for a discussion. Once the motion is made and seconded, he should have been asking for it automatically because that's what happens typically in Robert's Rules of Order. After a motion and a second is made, then it is asked by the presiding body if there is any discussion. And then discussion proceeds. Doesn't matter whether you had discussion or you had a meeting prior to this one. This is a whole different meeting, and you are able to tackle the topics as such. So I don't care if you talk 3 hours before this meeting. This is a whole different meeting, and discussion can still be had. It always confuses me when they are saying or asking for discussion or motioning for discussion. That's what comes after making a motion, a second, then this is when discussion happens.
free to make whatever motion you want.
We're in the middle of a vote, we cannot.
I need you to call for discussion so that I can make a motion.
And if he does not call for discussion or allow them to discuss, she cannot ask for a motion. So she would have to, in discussion is where you ask for motions, motion to table, motion to send back to somewhere, you know, a motion for a different type of outcome.
Me or her? Okay. Please make sure y'all are in your mics. Thank you, Ms. Dominguez.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, how do you vote?
Motion carries. That is ordinance number 3519.
So, I have a few, questions that I want to ask the voters of Harvey. Oftentimes in these meetings, Alderwoman Chapman and Alderwoman Keys is made to look like they are being very difficult. And I want to ask the voters, should dealing with your money be easy? Should you let someone that's just going to sit there and not have any discussion about how your money is being spent? Is that what you voted for? Do you see Alderman Keys and Alderwoman Chapman as a problem? Do you see them being unfairly difficult? If you live in wards 1, 6, and 3, and 5, I think that's Randall L's ward, do you think that they should be asking questions in kind? Or did you elect them to just go along with whatever is coming down the pipeline? Should they be asking intelligent questions based on what they receive in the packet? Do you feel like they're even reviewing the packets that they are receiving? Because it seems to me the majority of the questions come from Ward 4 and Ward 2, because they have actually viewed the packets and have questions based on what they saw in the packet. So my question is, are the other wards even reviewing the packets that they are receiving? I don't know how you can receive packets every month or every week and not have zero questions about anything. That's like going to the doctor and reviewing your chart and not having any questions about medication the doctor is asking you to do or how he's asking you. You're just then proceed to yes, what needs to be done, what should have been done, or what you should have asked.
Vote is over. I'm not calling for discussion now. I'm not gonna call for discussion. Let me say this very loud and clear. I'm not calling for discussion because again, we discussed these items in length at the public hearing at about 5:40 p.m. today, for more than an hour and a half. However, Alderwoman, you are free to call a motion for discussion if you so choose. That is your right. You don't need me to do that.
Simply how the chair operates. Call for discussion.
Actually, when we're in the middle of a vote, we cannot call for a motion.
The vote is not over.
This is a thing that doesn't make any sense. If you look up Robert's Rules of Order, Shirley just said that you can't call for a discussion in the middle of a vote. Who was voting? There was a motion made and it was seconded. Dominique Randall L. never called for a vote because Alderwoman Chapman raised her hand and asked for discussion. So there was no vote called for. He didn't say, clerk, call the roll for the vote. He didn't do that. He said there was a motion and there was a second. And then that's when Alderwoman Chapman asked for a discussion, because at that time she could. No vote. He didn't ask for a roll to be called. No vote was called. so she could ask. Now listen, there are going to be some people who are going to view this video and say, Super, you biased, you for all the women and this, that, and the third. I'm not for anything. I'm for right. I'm for right. That's what I want. I also ask questions about the other persons. Should they be asking questions once they receive these packets of pages of everything, and you receive them week after week and you have no questions? I'm not biased against anyone. I'm not for or against anyone. I'm asking the residents, what is your position about what you see, while giving you my opinion on what is happening. I'm not for or against anyone. Alderwoman Chapman is doing her work in her ward. She's taking care of business in her ward while also looking out for all of the other wards, because people that live in her ward have family members that live in Ward 1, 5, 3, 6, and 4. So I'm asking you to go off based on what you see, which is what I'm looking at.
Did the vote pass? I have not called for any votes. Therefore, we are no longer in the middle of a vote.
See that? He said, I have not called for any votes. Therefore, we are no longer in the middle of a vote. Now, where's Shirley coming from? You can't call for a discussion in the middle of a vote when the man just told you he didn't call for no vote.
What's the ordinance number, Mr. Gonzalez?
That would be 3519.
Thank you.
I'm gonna say it one more time. We are no longer in the middle of a vote. All right, with that being said, B3, a resolution accepting the fiscal report for fiscal year.
You know what they're going to do in these
22.
reports? They're going to go through these things. They're going to pass them all, no matter what Kobe says. So here we are. So let's go back so we can hear Ward 6 give his aldermanic report.
Deep sadness and a heavy heart that we extend our sincere condolences to the family, friends, and classmates and loved ones of 12-year-old student Denia Smith. The loss of a young life is heartbreaking.
Now, Tyrone Rogers did not speak really to anything of note, which he never really does in his ward. You know, I find it interesting that he's not talking about the mobile home park in the back that I don't feel like is up to code. We're going to take a look at that. That's a ride we're supposed to take with D Love. There are a number of businesses that have left in his ward. There is not speaking to how he plans on replacing those businesses. You know, with the latter, Renee Good was, unalived due to the ICE activity in her neighborhood. There has been no mention or speaking any type of asking for any plan as far as ICE is concerned, what would be happening if something like that occurred in Harvey. So he doesn't say anything of note.
Residents, just a small story.
Again.
Good evening, everyone.
Countless of children.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. I wish the mayor was here tonight. I don't know the situation, but got a lot of explaining to do. I would like to begin by wishing, since we haven't had a meeting in almost 2 months, which is unprecedented, so hopefully everybody had a nice Thanksgiving, a nice Christmas, and a prosperous year coming ahead, since we wasn't able to publicly announce that to you. Since we haven't been addressing a whole lot of things, this ICE situation is still out of hand. We haven't made any type of meetings or public safety, anything concerning our Hispanic neighborhood that you see?
Now, I want to state this, that Sammy Sosa did the same thing during COVID. There was no announcement, there was no plan, and this was stated. I'm going to read something. I'm going to read something via Facebook, and you can go to it yourself. I'll tell you what it. Let me find it. Give me 1 second. Let's see. Hold on 1 second. I gotta pull it up. I actually can you guys this. I'll show it to you after I read it. There. There's a post on Facebook. I think it's in a group called I'm from Harvey. And this is what this person states. So Christopher Clark is cutting off people water 6 days after the 15th. I was in the neighborhood so that people can sign my petition. And I met this one woman who has 5 small children and her water was cut off. I said, "Ooh, girl, your water bill must be high." She said, "No, it's only $72.06. She said, "I get paid on the 1st. I'll get it back on." Then she smiled and said, "You want me to sign your papers?" I wouldn't known if it wasn't for the big stone in front of her house. This is the kind of mayor you want. Selfish, cold-hearted, doesn't live in the neighborhood. He has it Conrad to tow people's cars out their personal driveway. Find people property. He don't like nothing. He said he was going to do for Harvey is true. You never can get in touch with him. 6 chief police officers quit. Whole administration walked out. He has a meeting concerning Harvey citizens when he feel like it. Absolutely nothing about the protection of the citizens during the COVID-19. Not one plan was in that. He didn't call national emergency when our lights blew out for 7 days and everyone lost their food. The flooding issue in Harvey is a big problem due to collapsed pipe and not knowing where the drain pipes are. The grass only get cut once every 2 months. The police station is not open all the time due to people quitting because of his narcissistic behavior. Now that it's voting time, he all over the place. Do not let this man back in office. Do not vote for this man. He just not a good fit. This was before he was elected the 2nd time. I'll show you guys that later.
What happened to the lady in Minnesota was really tragic for something like that to happen and for a city of Harvey for us not to even address about the issue. So we need to improve on that. I would like to set public safety on December 1st. I don't know how they pulled it off, 159th and Park Street. They lit a ring of fire and was dragging the car around, had guns and everything in our city. And basically, you know, they treat us like we some punks. But you can come to Harvey and do anything.
So due to, I guess, a lot of the cutbacks as far as officers too on the street, there was a takeover that was done in the middle of the street in December. And so that is what Alderman Keys is talking about over there on Park and 159th. And so that's what he's talking about as far as people can do anything in Harvey. That's what it feels like. We're gonna fast forward to, I think,
Many people reflect on hope and renewal, but a new year must also bring clarity, accountability, and intentional leadership.
So this Alderman Colby, she always gives a good aldermanic report. She kind of wraps up everything that has happened in the last few months where they not had meetings, where the business was broken into and not addressed really. And at this particular time, Dominique Randall is asking the alder who wants to go. Nobody wanted to go, so he picked Colby after Tracy, after Alderwoman.
By the way, you guys might not know Dollar Tree and Family.
So let's hear. This is the comment I really.
Thank you very much, Alderman.
This is the and I really want to get to because we need to break it down, and we're gonna do this quickly.
Alderman Smith.
Happy New Year. Residents, this is a new year, and we need to hold people accountable when providing fake news as opposed to the TMZ factual news. Picking and choosing who should be accountable and what should be transparent isn't ethical. Business licenses are due annually, April 30th, at the cost of $250. Dollar stores were operating too long without business licensing, forcing the city.
Now, I have never seen a person litigate their case, win it, and lose it in the same presentation. She said that businesses have gone far too long without their business license. Whose responsibility would there be to maintain those things?
To issue a cease and desist. That part was left out through the gospel.
So now they wait until Harvey has declared itself a distressed city and further distress the city by issuing cease and desist to businesses that are vital to the public for the purchasing of items, and close those doors so that people who depend on the Dollar Tree because of their financial state in Harvey can't access the grocery part of the Dollar Tree or the Family Dollar, because that made sense, and it made sense to you to make a comment about it. But you don't think that it makes the administration look bad because these businesses are the only businesses generating business revenue for your city. So it makes sense that you're a distressed city. You're going to shut down the only viable businesses that are big box businesses in the city so they cannot serve the residents that elected you to your seat. And that makes sense. Over a business license. Yeah.
By the way, you guys might not know Dollar Tree and Family Dollar are corporate owned, not individual ownership. According to January 2026, Dollar Tree net worth is $6.6 billion. Family Dollar sold by Dollar Tree July 2025 for about $1 billion. Net proceeds of $800 million, but they don't want to pay the poor black community $250.
Oh, Alderwoman of the Third Ward, is it your testimony that you just stated that these are big box companies worth billions of dollars that cannot afford a $250 business license? So it is your testimony in front of us on this particular day of January the 12th in the year of 2026 of our Lord to tell us that a $1 billion company cannot afford a $200 business license. again, I'm gonna say this again. I've never seen somebody litigate their case, and win it and lose it in the same presentation. Because what you're trying to make us believe is that $2 billion a year companies, which you just read yourself, did not pay or put in their application, renew their application for a $250 business license, by which they're going to even pay more because they're going to pay their business license fee and then still be paying the business taxes and all of those things, which they are current and up to date in, to the village of Harvey. And that revenue, however small or large it may be, makes sense to the village of Harvey because they got into a dispute with Sammy Sosa and he closed their businesses down at one time because they wouldn't support his type of leadership.
Blame isn't on this administration, it's on corporate greed. Blame also lies on anyone who defends this type of practice from any business who continues to steal from the city and has contributed to the reasons our city is in distress. This puts us at a more vulnerable state for greed. There's 3 years of business license.
So Beggars Pizza for 3 years have had no business license, and you just thought now to mention it. Whose job is it to make sure that business licenses are renewed? Who pulls those things, which would be a job of someone at the city? Who keeps tracks of those things? So should the cease and desist been issued at the end of the year where they were not renewed? And so why are we talking about this? 3 years now, they've been allowed to operate under this mayor, current mayor, with no business license, with no action being taken by the city, which is well within their rights to do if said business license was not renewed. Okay.
No mention of that in these past 3 years. Transparency, accountability. A high elected official operating a business without a license for this long is a god-awful shame, and say better for us.
I bet you won't say it to Napoleon's face. Now you're in this meeting slinging all these accusations when the person you actually should be talking to is the owner of that particular business, which you mentioned was Beggars Pizza in Harvey, which is owned by Senator Napoleon Harris. Now, I want to know why you didn't go right down to the Beggars, where he frequently is working, and ask him about his business license instead of saying something about it in a meeting where nobody in this particular meeting has control over that man, his business license, or the city's ability to put a cease and desist on him, where they put a cease and desist on the Dollar Tree and the Family Dollar. Okay.
Other big corporations to take advantage of our city. This is the same person withholding funds from this distressed city.
And who told you that man was withholding funds from a distressed city? You all have cut staff. You have cut public safety. I'm not understanding who withholding funds, because that man's job is to appropriate funds to different municipalities. However, he cannot appropriate funds if there is not full transparency. Harvey just now accepted from 2022. You want this man to appropriate funds to a municipality who is not even in this current year's audits. Make that make sense. What about that sounds fiscally sound? So I should appropriate money to people who are not even keeping track of their own money because by their own admission, they are behind in audits by 3 years.
That the council meeting all collectively voted on October with no response for 3 months. There's more concerns for council meetings than it is meetings with the powers that be on the distressed funds. Consistently calling out the media to capitalize off people's tragedy and trauma isn't real advocacy, as you fail to use that airtime opportunity to plead before the nation to those who are responsible for not helping the city by releasing the funds needed to bring this city to an unlawless state. Kobe, you're president of the DOTS, D-O-T-T, which everyone needs to connect those dots.
Listen, this woman just said that Alderwoman Chapman was president of DOTS. Now, who watching TMZ? Definitely you, because Napoleon Harris is president of DOTS, D-O-T-T-S. Alderwoman Chapman is a member, and she's currently over the youth committee of DOTS, D-O-T-T-S. Now, who watching TMZ? Who trying to put out false information? Huh?
With this type of access, have you talked with the 5th District Commissioner and the senior with regard to their plan for this business city? No collaboration.
She is asking if Alderwoman Chapman has talked to the 5th Commissioner, who is Keisha McCaskill. Well, I would say that you, Alderwoman Talani Smith, are Alderwoman, just like Colby Chapman is an Alderwoman. So you have the same right to speak to the 5th Commissioner as she does. Why haven't you done it? It's funny how we get up here and we point fingers about what other people is not doing. You got to be careful when people send you to do something, because you need to make sure that what you're saying makes sense when you read it out loud. Because that's the one step I think you forgot to do was read out loud what you wrote. Because you have the same ability to approach these same people and ask them the same questions that you're asking her to ask. You have the same ability to reach out to media and give them your version and plead for whatever monetary restitution you think Harvey deserves as well. I am so in a state of confusion about this comment, even using somebody's name in your comment to attack them without even having the correct information with your TMZ investigative skills.
Collaboration or solution, no favor. Let's hold everybody accountable, not just those who won't do your favors.
Now, I agree. Let's hold everybody accountable. Now, that right there, you got me right there. Hold everybody accountable, including yourself.
That cost our city $160 million. It appears priority as an elected official to advocate for getting convicts rather than advocating for the.
And what convict did get out of jail free? I mean, if you naming names, name all the names. Don't make us go search for anything. If you the TMZ of Harvey, we need to know all of the information. What convict did she advocate to get out of jail free? We need to know this. If you making accusations, they need to be accurate. I don't need circumstantial evidence. I need concrete evidence. Give us the name. This right here was in very poor taste. Very poor taste. This is what you all voted for, though.
To the city. You need to resign as an alderwoman.
Not you calling for somebody to resign when you need to go over there and look at your own ward and figure out what's going on in it. Businesses and all. That was a horrible report. It was very distasteful. But anywho, there were some further things that we found out in this meeting. I can't continue to look at this or watch this. So we're going to move into, and then we're going to get out of here. We found out from Dominique Randall L that the mayor is human, and he's human. That's what we found out. Not that we didn't know that, but that's what we was told. Because some people wanted to know where he was, and rightly so. If you are the leader, if you're going to be absent or whatever is going to happen, people expect to have a level of respect from you if you want them to have a level of respect for you. People don't want to know your business. They know you have certain duties you are obligated to do, and you were not there to do them. So that demands an explanation. You can tell somebody that you were not feeling well without telling them what is going on with you. I believe that is fair, and two things can be true at the same time. And so he was not there. We also found out in this meeting, which was a little bit crazy, that the clerk has resigned. Now, when did this happen? And, as I do, I want to put this in your reading, put this in your reading. You can go to this website. It is the ILGA. The highlight portion here says duty of the clerk. If a resignation is delivered to the clerk of the municipality, the clerk forward a certified copy of the written resignation to the official who is authorized to fill the vacancy within 7 days after receipt of the resignation. So, did the clerk notify the mayor, the deputy clerk? Who was notified? Should there have been something put on the Harvey website letting the residents know that the clerk has resigned? Now, in your reading, as I do, I actually Googled what are the procedures when an elected clerk resigns in Illinois. So the requirements for resignation: a resignation must be in writing, signed by the clerk and notarized. It must be delivered to the officer authorized to fill the vacancy, typically the mayor or the village president. An unconditional resignation is effective on receipt or on a specified future date not exceeding 60 days. If an oral resignation is given and the official stops working but refuses to provide a written one, council may declare the office vacant due to abandonment. If the resignation is mistakenly delivered to the clerk office, a certified copy must be forwarded to the authorized officer within 7 days. So my question is, did the entire board know that the clerk had resigned? Because here is stated that she has to notify them. And is she still getting paid? Residents of Harvey, the clerk has resigned, according to Dominique Randall L. Is she still getting paid? And if she's not, then can we then use that salary to hire back some more public safety people? So mainly the firefighters. Can that be done? What are we doing? And is the deputy clerk now going to serve as the clerk? If so, that's fine, because she's been in attendance. She's been there. But there are rules also governing vacancies. It says the mayor or village president fills the vacancy with the advice and consent of the city council or board of trustees. If the council doesn't approve, the mayor or president can make a temporary appointment until a permanent replacement is confirmed or elected. Appointments should generally be made within 60 days of the vacancy. How long has the seat actually been vacant? They haven't had any meetings since October. Did she resign before then? These are all questions that I have and that should have been asked by the alder people. But yet they're going to go right along not asking any questions of when, where, how, Jack run, see Sally jump, none of that. That's going to be perfectly fine with them. But yeah, you have people crying about money being appropriated to a distressed city. You have a whole salary vacant. Bring back the firefighters so that the village can be safer. And on that note, that's my recap for the Harvey meeting. Listen, I hope that you all do not disengage. I hope that you stay engaged, that you stay active in your government. Ask questions. The more you ask questions, the more uncomfortable they're going to get. And that's the way they need to be, uncomfortable, if they're not going to be transparent. Thank you all for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe. I'll see you on the next video recap.